So, I'm here today for something completely different. I have challenged everyone's favorite Australian popper player, Kerblinksy, to a boss battle. I was watching Vintage Player and overall Magic Online grinder Ecobaronoen has recently made a YouTube channel, and he's made some videos, what he has deemed boss battles, where he's challenging other powerful players to matches of. So far, he's only done Vintage and Legacy, but I thought this would be a cool format to do for Popper as well. So I'm sort of following his format, and I've chosen three different decks, and then Kerblinksy is also chosen three different decks. And we're going to play a set of three matches, alternating play and draw. Um, and sort of, we've chosen three different archetypes each to try to show a breadth of matchups in the format. Um, and Kirby is also going to be recording his side of the matches for his channel. And so it should be interesting. Hopefully. The decks I've chosen are Blue Black Fairies, Mono Red, and Boros Bully. I decided not to choose my best three decks, but three different decks that might that I have some experience with, but would also help to show a different set of matchups. Um, and yeah, I'll do deck text before the matches, but hopefully this will be interesting. So the first deck I'm going to be playing is Blue Black Fairies. I played this deck a lot before I picked up Familiars. This was quite a long time ago. Um, Before like Blood Fountain is when I first started playing this deck, but it's changed a bunch. This is a list inspired by Beiko. I guess Beisu is a more accurate way to say his name. I have made some changes. I'm not confident that they are good, but they sort of suit what I'm more used to. So I cut the Bajuka Bog. I ended up cutting. What else did I change? I think I changed some of the sideboard slots. I added a loose focus and an extra monarch, I think. Um, but overall, this is a relatively stock deck list. You're basically just playing a blue-black control deck with spell sorter sprites to fight over cheap cards, counter spells to fight over expensive cards, and then Monarch to help you pull ahead. And then Snuff Out is probably the best card in this deck. Just allows you to kill creatures for 0 mana, which in combination with the Monarch is incredibly broken. And then you sort of have the side plan of Ninja the Deep Hours, which has synergy with Spell Sorter Sprite, Fairy Seer, and Augur Bolus, which sort of pressures your opponent to keep removal spells in their deck. And then those removal spells are going to be bad against the Monarch. So we'll see how this first match goes. All right, we're here for match one. Um, Herb's three decks that he has chosen are Grixis Affinity, Blue White Glitters, and Gardens. I don't necessarily know the order though, so it could be any of those three to start out. And I am, of course, playing Blue Black Fairies. So we're waiting for him to get settled in, and it should be an interesting set of matches. All right, Kirby has chosen the play. I cannot keep this hand, unfortunately. If this was an island, it would still be a bit suspect, but I do think I probably still would mulligan. Okay, so this hand seems like a keep. The question is, what am I gonna get rid of? If my opponent is on glitters, these snuff outs are really good. If they're on walls, they're not on walls. Their decks are affinity, glitters, and gardens. If they're in gardens, these snuff outs are not so good. I'm gonna wish that I want another island, but I wish that I'd kept an island. I'm gonna just bottom an island, and seems like a decent middle ground. Snuff outs could be better against both Crixus Affinity and against Blue White or against Gardens, but it seems that they're on glitters, which is quite nice. So I think I'm just gonna grab my swamp here, and then next now I have Snuff Out up, and I might end up wanting to use this to try to fight over the affinity count. Like if my opponent were to play a what's the card called? Yeah, I think I want to snuff this out now to prevent my opponent from playing Forecast. But I want to save the second one for all the glitters, I think. And hopefully this kind of time sort of like time walks them because they won't be able to play Um, won't be able to play their Thoughtcast, which is I think is a card they have. So I want to cycle first, that my scry doesn't get messed up. So fourth island is interesting as that allows me to deploy this. But I don't think that's what I'm looking for. I think I'll take another removal spell. Yeah, I'm a bit worried though. I kind of do need a way to pull ahead, which this Murmuring Mystic can be a way to pull ahead, but I guess we'll see what happens here. Notably, the Agony Warp can't kill Mirror Enforcer, and it also can't kill a creature with glitters on it. So it might have been correct to actually put that card on the bottom. But I suppose we'll see how it plays out. Ideally, I wouldn't have to use this Snuff Out, and I could just play the Murmuring Mystic before I play the Snuff Out to get an extra token, but I suppose we'll see. Okay, so we're going to combat. I'm definitely going to block if I'm given the option. Doesn't seem like I'm given the option. So maybe there isn't a Thoughtcast. Maybe it's just Metallic Rebuke. So I'll start with Fairy Seer. I doubt this is going to get Metallic Rebuked. Although, maybe they just want to be mana efficient. Okay, so this resolves. I think I'm pretty happy with both of these. So we'll go land on top and then ninja on top of that so that next turn I can ninja in the fairy. Let's go top, top, island, and then I'll attack for 1. And then on their upkeep, I might end up Agony Warping his Gingerbrute. I guess we'll see what happens here. If my opponent activates the Gingerbrute, I'll definitely Agony Warp to try to play around a possible ninja. But I suspect that my opponent has Metallic Rebuke and not Thoughtcast based on how this is played out. Even though I sort of did play around Thoughtcast with the Snuff Out. I am planning on doing more of these videos, so... Ooh, this is interesting. So, I think this is going to work out well for me because I think my opponent has Metallic Rebuke, and I can then just use Snuff Out to kill the Gingerbrute. There's no reason for me to cast Snuff Out now, I don't think, unless they go, like, untapped land plus... plus like Dispel, but I don't think that's a card that's going to be in their deck most likely. So here, I'm going to draw. I'm going to play my tap land. I'm going to Fairy Seer first, I guess. So let's go. Ooh, both of these are pretty good, I think. I do want more removal spells, but I think these are just good enough. So now I'll pass. And I'm feeling very far ahead in this game. The card I'm most afraid of right now is Mirror Enforcer, but I can block that with Murmuring Mystic, so. I think this matchup is pretty good for me, so. The thing I'm dreading is that I'm going to actually start with Murmuring Mystic to best play around Rebuke. Okay, it doesn't look like they have a Rebuke. And we got there. Okay. So against all the glitters, I'm really not exactly sure what I want here. I don't think the Edicts are very good. I don't think, like, because they have a lot of sort of cheap creatures that are expendable. I don't think Unexpected Fangs is very good. I don't know that I want another Monarch. Relic is useless. So it's sort of like between these cards that I'm considering. I think One Arms is probably okay as a way to sweep up various Frogmites and Ninjas and other nonsense. I don't really think these extra counterspells are particularly useful. And then it's just, do I want to bring in extra Murmuring Mystic or not? I don't think I do. Could be wrong though. So I think I'm gonna sideboard out. I think it's between Chain. So I'm gonna board out the Fumes, I guess. This card is not very useful. Maybe I want the second Arms, and I can board out a removal spell of some sort. either... I think Agony Warp is probably the worst removal spell. Echoing Decay can hit possibly like multiple Frogmites or something. Alternatively, I could also board out a Fairy Seer. That's pretty reasonable, but I'll go with this and see what happens. Alright, well, this is pretty reasonable. I have a plan of cycle on turn 1, and then turn 2 I can play Snuff Out, basically. Sort of hoping that my opponent's draw is not super quick. Ornithopter, sure. Alright, I'll take 1. Island, pass the turn. The cards I'm most afraid of here are like Thoughtcast and what's it called? Elven Mines? Although Elven Mine would require a ninja. So now that I have the tap land, I can snuff out a ninja. I'm not doing much else. We'll see how this plays out here. They have a basic island. Thoughtcast, very powerful. This is definitely one of the better cards for them to have here. Threat Inspector, sure. So now if they have Elven Mind, they get to resolve that. I need to get a blocker down ASAP. Like Augur or Bolas would be a really good draw. Okay, so now they're representing Metallic Rebuke with the clue token. Okay, I don't really have another option other than just playing an island and passing. It's possible that I'll end step Echoing Decay something. Yeah, Darksteel Citadel, okay. See if we have more of One Mind / Thoughtcast type stuff. Thoughtcast? So do I counterspell the Thoughtcast? I suspect that I'm supposed to. My guess is this is going to get Metallic Rebuked. Like they'll go Metallic Rebuke, tapping Razor type Bridge, Ornithopter, or Clue token. And there's not much I can do about that, but I do sort of have to exchange resources here. And my opponent, I guess my opponent can't go for a ninja this turn, but if they were able to, I could kill it with Snuff Out before it connected. Mirror Enforcer, okay. Second Mirror Enforcer. That's pretty spooky. Pretty spooky. So I'm going to take 2. It's going to be a tough game to win because I'm at such a low life total. I don't think that playing this is going to be very good. So I think I have to kind of Desperation Brainstorm and hope to hit like an Augur or Bolas or something. That is not good news. Not good news at all. Okay, so I don't have any way to shuffle this. So it doesn't really matter what I put back. I don't think. So I'm going to Snuff Out once here on the main phase. And then probably end up Snuff Out in combat. The downside to snuffing out in combat, like if I wait till after blockers, is that they can ninja in, so I'll probably have to do it before blockers. But I really do not feel good about my position in this game. It's a tough spot. Okay. So we're attacking. I'm going to Snuff Out before blockers. Go down to 7, down to 6, down to 5. And then I'm going to wait and see if they ninja. Which they don't. Okay. They still have a clue. I want to counterspell basically anything that hits the stack here. So they draw a card. Okay. I think end of turn I'm gonna try to Echoing Decay the Ginger Brute. Assuming that nothing else happens. I could also untap and then Echoing Decay on the subsequent turn to keep counterspell up the whole time. Because if I go for Echoing Decay on the end step here and then my opponent rebukes it, that's pretty bad. Yeah, I think I'll wait. I don't have a whole lot of life to work with, but I do have some. So I'm gonna pass the turn. And then I'll wait till combat before I cast Echoing Decay. Ninja is the card I'm most afraid of here from them. And I don't think I can beat Ninja, so I shouldn't be playing around it. So I'm going to Echoing Decay the Ginger Brute. If my opponent has Metallic Rebuke, I'll pay for it. Having a Ninja would be so good for my opponent here, but let's see what happens. They don't. Okay. So now I'm just gonna counter whatever this is, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I have to counter this. I suspect that they have Metallic Rebuke, but I wouldn't mind. Very good. Very powerful. Obsidian Acolyte. Pretty good card. Pretty honestly unbeatable here. Okay, so my two options are either play Thorn or play Ninja. I don't think either of them really get there. I think I'm just going to cast the Ninja. Okay, Metallic Rebuke is coming down, it looks like. So next turn, if I draw... I'm at 2 life. I don't even know what I could draw. I think I'm dead. All the glitters. That is going to be good enough. These Monarchs were not particularly good, even though I did have 2 Snuff Outs that game. Pretty impressive, impressive deck. Do I want to change anything? I don't think so. Like, maybe I want an extra counterspell on the play. But I think, yeah, maybe I can, like, do... turn 2 Ninja is pretty decent. I think I'll keep it as it is. It's possible these Arms of Fidar aren't good, but given that I saw my opponent keep in their Ornithopters, I think it's pretty reasonable to keep this in, because it hits Ornithopter, it hits Frogmite, it hits the Ninjas, and it also hits the... what am I thinking of? The Thraben Inspector. So, it's a pretty reasonable set of cards, I think. It's possible that I wasn't supposed to brainstorm on that turn. It seems totally fine. Seems totally fine. Who started the game? Who started on the play? They did. Okay. So let's start with the tap lands. Most likely next turn I'm going to go Obscura Storefront, fetch an island, and then play Fairy Seer. If I draw an untapped land, I'll probably play Augur. So we'll see what happens here. Okay, turn 1 Ginger Brute. Second verse, same as the first. Yeah, so let's fetch an island. Now, if my opponent wants to go for a Ninja, they do have to at least activate the Ginger Brute, which costs them mana. Because I will definitely be blocking. Okay, Island Chainer's Edict. So I'm going to go top, and then most likely next turn we'll go Augur and then Fairy Seer. Interesting spot, for sure. Ancient Den. The card I'm most afraid of here is the Acolyte. Although I do have Arms of Fidar in my deck as an answer to the Acolyte, and I do also have Chainer's Edict that I'm going to be getting next turn with the Augur, which can answer the Acolyte. If my opponent chooses to leave up Metallic Rebuke, I might have to change my plans. Echoing Decay on these Ginger Brutes seems pretty nice, actually. So, what if I don't block, and then next turn I go untap Island, and then I can move the Chainer's Edict from the top of my deck to the second card on the top of my deck, and then I can Echoing Decay both of the Ginger Brutes. Ooh, yeah, this is a punish, though, because if they have a Ninja here, it's not ideal. So, alright, maybe the plans have changed again, to where I'm probably just going to play the Augur to block the Moon Circuit Hacker. So, yeah, I think I'm doing this. I think Chainer's Edict is pretty useless. Maybe it's better to take Preordain to try to find an Arms of Vidar in this spot. And then the question is, do I play Fairy Seer or do I go to cycle Lorien Revealed? I think cycling Lorien Revealed is fine. I'm gonna pass again. Sort of an interesting spot. Not blocking did look a little bit wonky there on that last turn, but I think that my play made sense. If they didn't end up having a Ninja, then I could have gotten a nice 2-for-1. Thraben Inspector, yep. Oggs is holding down the fort here. Doesn't look like they have a third land yet. Ornithopter, sure. So now I definitely am looking for a an Arms of Hadar, but Arms of Hadar is going to be tough if they have Metallic Rebuke. So, activate Gingerbrute. Okay, let's see if they have another ninja. If they have another ninja, I could potentially Echoing Decay the ninjas. Which they don't. They're still representing Metallic Rebuke. So I'm going to cycle this for another black source. It's possible I will want to cast multiple black spells in one turn. Okay. So I can go Brainstorm and then clear it with the Fairy Seer, but I kind of want to save this Brainstorm for later. So I think I'm going to go Fairy Seer and then pass. My opponent isn't pressuring me for a lot. Okay, Arms of Hadar is just what the Doctor ordered here. So the problem is it's going to be tough to actually set up an Arms of Hadar that's going to work, but let's go top, play this tap land, pass the turn, and then ideally I can end of turn Echoing Decay whatever creature they're holding up to cast Arms of Hadar with the Springleaf Drum. I suppose we'll see what happens here. Razortide Bridge. So I know one of their cards is a Gingerbrute. And they have a clue and 2 unknowns. I suspect one of the unknowns is a Metallic Rebuke. I don't know if I have a good way to play around that. Activate Gingerbrute, okay. So I'm not going to block. Okay, so they choose not to play the Gingerbrute, I guess to hold up the clue token. I'm very scared about a potential Metallic Rebuke here, so I think I just have to cast Brainstorm, and then I can shuffle away stuff bad cards with Flurry Revealed. Although I don't really think any of these are super bad, so I'm going to have 3 cards in the graveyard. If I cycle this for an island and then play it, I'll have 4 cards in the graveyard and 4 mana. But I don't really want to shuffle away any of these cards. These are all great. So what if I went Preordained, Lorien Revealed? Yeah, oh, what a tough spot. I mean, I'm just taking 1 damage a turn, which is totally fine, I think, for the most part. What is the worst card in my hand? I guess these single target removal spells like aren't ideal if my plan is to resolve Arms of Hadar. So maybe I bottom Echoing Decay. I put Echoing Decay back, put Preordained back, and then I cycle with a plan to set up a Arms of Hadar plus Counterspell turn. So if I draw an untap land, I can go Arms of Hadar plus Counterspell. The thing I'm worried about here is if my opponent goes All That Glitters plus Counterspell, or plus Metallic Rebuke, that I won't be able to do much about that. Helpful Mind, very good, very powerful. So they have 5 unknowns and 1 Gingerbrute. Pretty interesting spot. Play Ancient Den, okay. Play the Gingerbrute, sure, I'm definitely not going to counter that, given that my plan is to cast Arms of Hadar. Activate Gingerbrute. Activate Gingerbrute, okay. I really need to find an untapped land. Okay, interesting. They're attacking with more things than I expected. So I can't block the Gingerbrutes. So the question is, do I block, like I could double block the Thraben Inspector to try to absorb some damage. I could also just not block, like I could just block like this. Although this does give my opponent the opportunity to ninja back the Thraben Inspector, but I think that's fine. So I'm really hoping to draw an untapped land. Untapped land would be huge here. Okay, I did not. So I have 4 cards, so I can go. If this gets countered, I think it's fine. I'll just let that happen. And the next turn, I think I'm stuck going for Arms of Hadar anyways. I don't think I'm allowed to counter back because my opponent can have... Ooh, this just resolves. Okay, that's spooky. Because now my opponent has All the Glitters plus Metallic Rebuke. I think I might be dead, actually. Activate Gingerbrute, okay. Interesting. I'm gonna take 2. And I think end step I might even just fire off a cast down on one of these ginger boots. Which sounds crazy, but I think it's what I have to do. Because I don't think I'm allowed to cast this until I find another land. I don't think my opponent is allowed to counter this either, but it does have, like, sort of half the clock. Okay, Augur Bolus. I think I will cast that card. Hopefully find, like, a Lorien Revealed or something. Brainstorm. Okay, I'm going to cast this in case I find a tap land. Okay, I do not find a tap land, but I do find an untapped land. So, yeah, next turn the plan is just cast these 2. So I think I'm just going to go Ninja, Preordain, Islands, and then attack for 5. Once again, I think if my opponent has Metallic Rebuke plus plus all the glitters, I do lose. So maybe I should have been more aggressive in this game. That's certainly a possibility. Certainly is a possibility. You're Enforcer. Sure. So I'm going to cast down that on the end step. Most certainly. I don't really care if this gets countered or not. Too much. Because the Gurmag Angler can block the Mirror Enforcer indefinitely. I would be pretty happy if this got countered, to be honest. But yeah, Kirby is too smart. Too smart. Alright, Arms of Hadar. Let's see if you have a Metallic Rebuke. Or if you have 2 Metallic Rebukes, I guess. Okay, does this resolve? It does. Alright. So I'm just going to attack with everything, I think. I don't think there's a reason to hold anything back. My opponent has Ginger Brute plus all the glitters, I do lose. But I don't think it's correct to play around that. Oh, do they have it? Doesn't look like it. Oh. Okay. So I'm gonna, I think, attack with everything but an Augur, which will force them to chump block the Gurmag, and then I can ninja back the Augur. I think this game is pretty much in the bag after the arms. Let's ninja back the Augur. Draw a card. Let's start with Preordain. So go top, top, play Augur Bolas, reveal Counterspell. So now they need all the glitters plus Metallic Rebuke to win here. Okay. I don't think that there's anything that can save my opponent here. It would have to be like Thoughtcast, Mirror Enforcer, or something. Sure. Let's cast Spellstutter Sprite. Alright, GG's, on to match 2. Okay, so my second deck is Boros Bully. Sort of a Boros-based mid-range deck that is based around graveyard synergies with Faithless Looting and Thrilling Discovery. And you have a large number of graveyard cards. So you have 4 Lunarch Veteran, 4 Sacred Cat, 4 Battle Screech, 4 Prismatic Strands, and 3 Rally the Peasants. And those are your graveyard payoffs. And then you also have Squadron Hawk, which works nicely with the looting package. And then some other various cards to round out the deck. Lightning Bolt, Journey to Nowhere, Craven Inspector. And yeah, so basically you're just like a go wide graveyard mid-range deck. Sideboard's pretty stock stuff. Um, I generally pretty like I generally like this sort of deck list, although it's sort of fallen out of favor in current Pauper due to the fact that you basically auto lose to Gardens, but I thought it would be an interesting deck to bring to this challenge as you know, I wanted to showcase three different archetypes. So Kirby got the play last time, so I'll take the play this time. And this hand seems reasonable. It's a bit slow, but that's fine. I'm hoping that that Kirby has chosen to play. Whoa, that's not what I wanted to do. Has chosen to play Affinity here. If he's on Gardens, it's going to be difficult. Difficult for sure. All right, let's see what Kirby's got going. I want to see. Oh, okay. This is going to be a tough one. All right, so I'm going to cycle for a Plains for sure, and then I had to decide whether or not I want to play the Squadron Hawk out here because I do have to go to cleanup if I do that. But I do have cards that I'm okay discarding, but I think I'm just going to play the Boros Garrison and then hope to draw something else next turn that I can play out. So that I don't have to go to cleanup as much. It's possible that I was supposed to mulligan this hand because it was too slow. I can honestly see that being the case. So I think if I go Squadron Hawk, I'm going to discard probably a land, and then I have to discard 2 cards, right? So yeah, I'll probably discard a land and one of these flashback spells. Probably Battle Screech, I guess. And I'm probably going to discard the Boros Garrison. Okay. Hawk is down. So the trick to this matchup, I think this is true for most decks playing against Gardens, is that you want to balance cards in 3 different zones. So you want to have enough stuff on the battlefield to pressure the Monarch, but not too much that you get swept up by a board wipe. And then you want to... I think I'm going to play out 2 birds here. And then you want to not have too much stuff in your graveyard because they have stuff like Bajuka Bog to punish that. And then obviously you can't have too much stuff in your hand because if you do that, you'll have to go to cleanup, as was demonstrated here. So we'll see how this goes. See how this goes. Blood Fountain. Okay. I guess I don't need to... I can just turn on my No Possible Play Yield All since I'm not playing free spells with this deck. So they Deadly Dispute the Clue token, and then they cast Limboss. Let's see how they scry. Or not the Clue token, the Blood token. They scry to the bottom. Okay. So I think I'm just supposed to go Battle Screech, flashback Battle Screech here. And if they snuff out in response, that's a bit of a bummer, but I'll return this mountain. So my opponent is going to get to sweep up all these creatures with a Crypt Rats or a Fumes or whatever, but there's not a whole lot I can do to play around that, I don't think. I think I just have to keep committing creatures to the board and then hope that my opponent doesn't have a sweeper. I do think I have the win here if there's no sweeper, but it's kind of hard to believe that that would be the case. This matchup is so bad that it might just be worth going for the kill, right? Is this lethal? So this is 5 damage per, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Yeah. So yeah, if there's suffocating fumes, I do get blown out massively here, but one removal spell wouldn't necessarily cut it. So I think I'm just gonna go for it. I don't think I have a better chance at winning just because this matchup is so bad. So let's do this. Then we'll do this. And then Kirby's going to cast Suffocating Fumes, and I'm going to be very sad. I think. Ooh, it actually worked. That was very lucky. Very, very lucky indeed. Okay, so these Prismatic Strands are pretty useless. Definitely want to bring in Ramosian Merit Rally and bring out Prismatic Strands. My opponent's going to be bringing in even more Sweepers, which is a bit of a pain in the butt. I could possibly bring in like a Revoke and a Dust to Dust, just as cards that do something. These strands can prevent Crypt Rats from being effective, so maybe I just do -2 strands plus 2 Ramosian Rally. Well, strands is it's a powerful card, but it's pretty dang useless in this matchup. So we'll see what happens. I'll bring in. I think I'll just try it like this. I don't really know how many artifact lands that the Garden deck plays, but they don't play that many usually. Especially, I saw a what is it? What's the name of the card? Defile, which obviously works based on the number of swamps you have. So that kind of leads me to believe that Curb's list has not that many artifact lands. Although I'm not really an expert on the Gardens deck construction. Definitely very lucky to win that game, though. That is for sure. That is for sure. Turn on my no possible play at all. This hand seems fine. I do need to find a red source to get the card advantage going. But I do have an extra redraw with the Thraben Inspector. I think this is pretty reasonable. I kind of doubt that Duress gets brought in this matchup, but I could be wrong, I guess. I imagine there's also, what's the new 3-mana board wipe? I forget what it's called. But I suspect that that's a card that gets brought in this matchup. Ooh, bummer. All right, so I'm going to play the Squadron Hawk so that I don't have to have the chance of drawing another one. And I do need to draw a land in my next two looks. Ideally, a red source. Either a Boros Garrison or Mountain. Okay, Spellbomb gets brought in. That makes sense. I have a lot of graveyard stuff in my deck. Passes the turn. All right. So, I think I have to crack this. How bad is it if I just go Lunarch Veteran Sacred Cat? It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. All right. Well, that's certainly not ideal. So I think I'm discarding a cat and another cat, I guess. I'm pretty far behind in this game. It's possible that I was supposed to mulligan, but I think it's a pretty reasonable set of cards to keep. I also suspect that I will not be getting to my turn with these in my graveyard. This will get cracked, is my guess. Tough spot to be in, regardless. This deck, I think, is really, really heavily built around the Thrilling Discovery and Faithless Looting, and so when you don't get to resolve those and you have them stuck in your hand, it can definitely be problematic. All right, so we have cracks the spell bomb, plays a land, plays a blood fountain. Okay, well, this is not good news for the home team. Seems fairly unlikely I'll be winning this game, but see what I can make work here. So let's go Lunarch Veteran and then Thraben Inspector. I guess I shouldn't be using the no possible play yield all because I have what's it called? Ramosian Rally in my deck, but I don't think that matters too much in this game. I'm not really going to be like bluffing or anything. Like my opponent has no real reason to play around a possible bluff when they're so far ahead. All right, Defile on the Thraben Inspector. Maybe that means there's a 1 damage board wipe in my future. Cycles the Troll. Reveals Witch's Cottage. Very nice. All right, is it Monarch time? It is Monarch time. All right, so that likely means there's either a Snuff Out or a Defile in my future on this on the Squadron Hawk. Ooh, Spinning Darkness. Even better. Okay. I think I have to crack this clue to try to find a land. Which I did. I still think I'm kind of doomed, but I suppose I'll see what I can make work here. No reason to give up quite yet. Next turn, my play is most likely going to be either double Squadron Hawk to force a sweeper or cast Thrilling Discovery plus Squadron Hawk. I could also bolt the Thorn of the Black Rose to force a Trump Block with a plant token. But my guess is what happens if I do that is that this just gets killed. So okay, they're attacking me. That's not the fact that the Kirby is even considering attacking me with this is not Not good news. Okay, so I think my best play here is Squadron Hawk, and then next turn, I will stop using this no possible play Eldel because I'm representing Remosian Rally now. Um, Squadron Hawk to force a sweeper, and then if there's no graveyard hate, I can next turn cast Thrilling Discovery and then either bring back the cat or the Lunarch Veteran. Crypt Rats, okay. Notably, this gets around the oh, this is a combo. So if I had a Remosian Rally here, then this would be a bit of a blowout, but unfortunately I do not. Maybe not a complete blowout, as you know, my opponent still got to draw 2 cards, but so I'm gonna Witch's Cottage back the rats, I bet. Yep. Yep. I probably will end up discarding this Lightning Bolts. Although I can force the rats to get cracked on end step with this bolt, maybe. It seems tough to win this game regardless. Okay, so I think I'm gonna start with Thrilling Discovery, discarding the Sacred Cat and a Bolts. Okay, I'm just gonna bring back the Luminarch Phantom to force a removal spell. I'll play a Windscarred Crag. Alright, back to you. I'm gonna go down, but I'm not gonna go down without a fight. This card has been played, so I can dismiss that. Alright, Troll of Khazad-dûm is here. I do have an answer to that, but if there is a dispute, then they can dispute this and then return it with a Blood Fountain later. So I think I will start with the Journey to Nowhere. Yeah, let's do this. There's no sacrifice effect. Okay, so I can go Thrilling Discovery, discard like Lunarch Veteran's Battle Screech. I think it might be better to go Squadron Hawk Sacred Cat here, just to better play around Graveyard Hate. I know that they have a Crypt Rats in their hand, so it's pretty tough regardless, but pass back. Drown in Sorrow. Alright, so they still have a Crypt Rats. I'm pretty happy with them using sweepers on only 2 creatures. I think that's pretty much the best deal I'm gonna get. Okay, that is likely gonna spell GG. As I don't have, I think I have 2 Journeys to Nowhere in my entire 75, and that's really my only answer since this can't get bolted. And also because my opponent also has a what's it called? Crypt Rats in hand, so I'm gonna go Thrilling Discovery, discard Lunarch Veteran, Faithless Looting. I think my path to victory here is basically always involves some sort of Journey to Nowhere off the top. Even then, I don't even know. So I'm taking 7, 8 damage next turn, plus whatever happens with the rats. And then I have to draw into... Maybe I still have 2 Prismatic Strands, so maybe that's the card I should be looking for here. Interesting. Yep. So now if they go for crack for 1 and then hold priority and dispute, then that gets annoying, but they're too smart for that. They crack for 2. And then play another Avenging Hunter? Or a Troll? Troll. Okay. So I need to draw into Prismatic Strands, I think. Okay, that did not happen. So I think I'm going to discard this Remosian Rally and maybe the Ash Barons. I think showing them this is probably a mistake. I'm just going to discard these. I think I'm like so likely to lose this game that showing my opponent cards is just kind of not a good idea. Yeah, I think it's time to pack it in here. I'm going to take 5 from the trap plus a bunch from their board, and I will not be winning that game. Okay, for game 3, I didn't really see artifact lands at all, so I don't feel a reason to bring in any of this. Electricity can kill Crypt Rats exactly, but that doesn't seem relevant at all. Yeah, I mean, these prismatic strands don't seem very good, but I don't think I have anything better. I could, like, bring in Revoke Existence to kill a Blood Fountain, but that seems like a pretty terrible exchange since I'll be trading 2 mana for 1 mana, and also, I will be, they'll get a blood token out of the deal. Alright, I will play first. This hand I cannot keep, unfortunately. Thank you, Boris Garrison. Alright, this seems pretty reasonable. I'm going to keep Bottom of Thrilling Discovery, and then probably cast Thrilling Discovery on turn 2. Discarding probably Sacred Cat Faithless Looting, and then hope my opponent doesn't have a Bajuka Bog or some other similar graveyard hates. Alternatively, I could cast Faithless Looting and then immediately get the cat back, but I think this is the better value play. I'm actually going to discard the Faithless Looting and the Rally the Peasants here, since I'm less sad about graveyard hate if that, not if that, but when that happens. Okay, so I can go Thrilling Discovery, discard like Cat Veteran, and then bring back the cat. But I have three things in my graveyard, which I'm not super happy about. There's some graveyard hate, so I do kind of expose myself to graveyard hate here. Let's bring back the cat, and then hopefully there's no Bajuka Bog or Spell Bomb. No play on turn 2, no play on turn 3. Tithing Blade the cat, okay. So probably the plan is to sacrifice this to a Deadly Dispute. So here, I want to bring back the Veteran for sure. Question is, do I want to play a Thraben Inspector and the cat, or just Thraben Inspector? I think I'm going to go Thraben Inspector, Plains, bring back the Lunarch Veteran, and then plan to cycle the Ashburns on the end step here. I guess the sequencing was actually incorrect. Like, I should have done this first. Because then if they wanted to kill the Thraben Inspector, then they would cost them, like, I would gain 1 extra point of life. So that is a bit of a mistake. Pretty minor, though. So I think I'm going to cycle for another Mountain. I don't think it's super likely that I'm going to want to cast 2 red spells on the same turn, but I think it's even less likely that I'm going to need a 4th Plains desperately. Okay, so I'll start by... I can start by either attacking for 1 or playing Battle Screech. I think I'm going to... Oh, it's so awkward. It's so awkward. Yeah, I think I'm just supposed to try to force out a sweeper here. Certainly not ideal, giving my opponent 5 creatures. Like, if they have Suffocating Fumes here, it's a disaster, but as I sort of explained in game 1, I think this matchup is bad enough that there's not a whole lot of sense in playing around too many things. Although I am playing around some things by not deploying the cat, so let's see how it goes. I do still have Faithless Looting, Witch's Cottage, target troll. Do they put that on top or not? They do. Interesting. Crypt Rats, that is frustrating. So let's see if they crack this now. Crack 4-2. Sure. I gain 4. I guess was sort of inevitable. So they have 5 cards, and their top card is a troll. You have a little bit of trolling, I guess. So I'm going to crack a Clue, and then flashback create the Looting, and then probably flashback the cat as well. Okay, so I'm going to discard a cat and Bolt. No bounce lands. The bounce lands help a lot with this deck. I mean, this matchup is really tough, but the bounce lands help a lot with this deck in the fact that you have a lot of looting effects, and so you can turn the card advantage off the bounce lands into real action spells. Okay, so they cycle the troll. Maybe they just needed another land. That's totally fair. Speak of the devil. Still really tough. I'm just going to attack for 1 and then play, I think, just a Lunarch Veteran and then pass. I don't want to put too much stuff on the table because it just opens myself up needlessly to sweepers, but I also have to put some stuff on the table because if my opponent goes like kill spell, untap, play an emblem, then that's a pretty tough spot to be in. Notably, I can break up the map token by using a lightning bolt if that is if the creature is boltable. Looks like that's not going to be relevant in this game though. All right, 2 black, Tithing Blade. Sure, I will sacrifice my Lunarch Veteran. Blood Fountain, okay. Pretty powerful. I'm not really making a whole lot of forward progress, and Curb is rapidly gaining cards and also other resources. I'll play 1 Plains out and hold the other one for a Thrilling Discovery or Faithless Looting, I think. Alright, it's 3 mana is probably Crypt Rats, yep. And there's 2 more Crypt Rats in my future because, well, there's a Blood Fountain in play, so. Swamp Cycling the Troll, okay. I'm going to start with attacking. Okay, they're going to crack the Crypt Rats, sure. Play the cat, pass the turn. Gonna hold my lands for a potential Faithless Looting. 3 mana, 4 mana. We're gonna activate the Blood Fountain, targeting Troll and Crypt Rats. Okay. I wonder if they boarded out some of their emblems. I kind of doubt it, but it's certainly possible. They don't really need emblems to win against this deck, though. They just need to keep sweeping the board. 5 mana, so they're going to activate the Tithing Blade, getting rid of a Troll. The Consuming Sepulcher. It's a funny name. Sepulcher's an odd word. Okay, so I'll cycle this. Grab one of my few lands that are remaining. Okay, Squadron Hawk is good. So I'm going to start by attacking for 1. There's 2 Crypt Rats in the opponent's hand. I'm just going to play 1 bird out, I think. I don't think there's a reason to play another one. I'll grab these 3. Pass. Getting drained for 1 every turn, which is pretty frustrating because I'm not exactly presenting the fastest clock on mankind. Troll of Khazad-dûm, okay. So notably, if I cast Journey to Nowhere and there's a Deadly Dispute, I will have to journey one of my own creatures, but I don't think I have a better play, so. Yep. I'll journey my Squadron Hawk, I think. Then probably I'm going to deploy 1 more Squadron Hawk. I wonder if it's worth it to keep all 3 of these lands or just 2. I think it's fine to just keep 2. I do want some mana in play in case I draw into like Thrilling Discovery, Faithless Looting, or whatever, and chaining draw spells is a possibility with this deck. Although with 8 cards in hand, I think there's at least 1 Crypt Rat still in hand. Seems like a bit of a tall order to ever win this game, but Chukubog. Sure. There's no real reason to flashback Rally the Peasants in response. Crypt Rats, okay. Interesting the sequence wasn't the other way around because it had Curb activated Crypt Rats. Before they could have exiled the cat, but It's possible that they're trying to go for Cryptots on the end step. Okay, no, they're doing it here. Sure. Any order. So first I'm going to cycle the Thraben Inspector. And then most likely bring back the cat. Okay, do I cycle another Thraben Inspector? I don't think there's a reason to allow my opponents to get more than a 2-for-1 with the sweepers. If my opponent draws another Blood Fountain, then I think I'm doomed, but I don't even know if they run more than one these days. Not deciding to loot with 6 cards in hand is not good news for me. The other downside here is that I can't actually deck out my opponent because this deck runs a lot of looting effects, so I'm always gonna have less cards in my deck than the opponent here. Alright, so let's attack for 2, and then probably cycle the Thraben Inspector. Cast down the cat. Very rude. Very rude. Thraben Inspector. Draw a card. Journey to Nowhere. Alright. Let's play this Boros Garrison, pick up a Plains. Pass the turn. It's actually kind of impressive, this drain for 1 every turn, because I'm not presenting much of a clock at all here. Alright. Avenging Hunter is here. Has arrived. Alright, so probably I'm going to bolt this plant token, and then Journey to Nowhere the Avenging Hunter. I should probably wait till my turn, because if I go end step bolt the plant, and then untap Journey to Nowhere the Avenging Hunter, and there's a Deadly Dispute in response, it would require me to kill one of my own creatures, rather than just getting the plant, so let's go. I'm going to start with Throwing Discovery, discarding 2 plants, I think. Turn these into real cards. Any order. Okay, so let's go Journey to Nowhere. I don't imagine this is going to be very productive here. Discards a swamp to the blood token, okay. We'll try to exile the Vending Hunter. Let's see if there's a sacrifice effect. Okay, there's not. Lightning Bolt the plant. I'm fairly certain that both of these Thraben Inspectors are going to meet a quick death here, but at least there's no Forge. Yep, this was expected. So now I'm going to go Squadron Hawk, Battle Screech, Flashback Battle Screech, unless there's a removal spell in my future, which is certainly possible. On the Squadron Hawk. Okay. And then my guess is this is going to get swept away, but there's no real way for me to play around a sweeper with a Flashback Battle Screech, because Flashing Back Battle Screech requires me to already have 3 creatures in play, right? So there's not really I'm not really playing around anything by not flashing it back. All right, bottom both. So you're telling me there's a chance. I don't have a I'll Rally the Peasants. Oh, that's not good news. Not good news at all. So Blood Fountain hits the table, which can bring back 2 Cryptrats, and there's another Cryptrats in hand. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. All right. We're sweeping things away. I don't think it's going to be possible for me to win this game. I will probably end up conceding shortly here. Yeah, so let's go Thrilling Discovery, discard these 2. I think 2 more sweepers is going to be more than enough to be victorious here. Let's go Faithless Looting, probably discard this mountain, another Faithless Looting, any order, cycle the Thraben Inspector. I'm going to draw through my deck pretty quick here as well. So, all right, so let's go Faithless Looting. I probably should have played this Boros Garrison first. Yeah, I almost certainly should have played this Boros Garrison first. Let's discard Windscarred Crag, Prismatic Strands, any order. Play Squadron Hawk. Say no. Play Boros Garrison. Turn to Mountain. What's 3 mana? Oh, they're going to crack the Blood Fountain, I suppose. I don't think I can win this game. I don't think it's possible because I have 12 cards left, but I think I'll keep playing for a little bit longer at least. Okay, so they're going for the goad side so that they can draw a card next turn, which makes sense to me. Or at least giving themselves the option to draw a card next turn. Crypt Rats, if this hits the table, I would assume. Sure. So they crack for 2. I think I'm going to cast Hermosian Rally. So now if they crack for 1, then I'm going to flashback Prismatic Strands. And force them to crack for 2 more at least. This doesn't really accomplish much. Like, it doesn't really do much, but it does at least eat away at their life total. The problem is that the life total is going to favor them pretty quickly here. So now they crack for 2 again. And then I'm going to name a color that isn't black as to deal more damage to them. I'll name, like, I don't know, green, purple, orange. Something cool. Interesting. Sure. I'll choose black. This is actually pretty smart of Kirby here. I didn't consider this not activating again, because he can just activate again on my turn and it doesn't really do much. And in this sequence of trades, it actually bolsters his life total a bit. So let's go Blood of Red. Play this. Flashback Faithless Looting. I don't think there's enough cards in my deck for me to win here. Yep, this is a smart time to do this. Any order. Alright, I think it's time to pack it in. Say GG's. Alright, on to match 3. Okay. For my third deck, it's my second deck. Third deck I'll be playing is going to be mono red. So this is a list from Selkos, who is a grinder from South America. I forget which country. Argentina, I believe. And this is sort of a one-drop list with notably no Ren's Resolve, no Reckless Impulse. I haven't been playing a whole lot of mono red recently. It's post Swiss rebrand, but this seemed like a pretty reasonable list. Notably running 4 Goblin Bushwhacker to combine with Cold Oath Rebirth, and running 3 Seal of Fire to combine with the Goblin Blast Runner, and then only running 17 lands because all the cards cost 1 mana, and then the 4 Synthesizers and some burn spells. Pretty stock overall Coldotha list. In the sideboard, I took his sideboard and I added 2 Flaring Pains over 1 Relic and 1 Smash the Smithereens because I think this card's pretty important. And I'm always impressed by this card's ability to counter Prismatic Strands when I play against mono red, so I thought it was worth playing 2 copies. It isn't the best in this sort of deck list just because like you're pretty low on lands and it does cost 2 mana, but I think it's worth playing a couple copies. And yeah, that's mono red. All right, here we are for match number 3. I'm playing mono red versus, I honestly forgot what Curb's third deck was. Let me look. Grixis Affinity. All right, so I've got a couple Smash the Smithereens. I think 3 of them. And I think that's all that I'm going to be bringing in. This is sort of a one-drop list. I'm only playing one-drops, although I haven't recorded the deck tech yet, but I'm sure I will explain all my card choices in the deck tech. All right, you've got Dressforge Bridge. So I think this is a Great Furnace, Goblin Blast Runner angle. These Galvanic Blasts, I think, are going to be good here. I'm probably just going to send them upstairs. Like next turn, I'm going to go implement Epicure, and then attack for 1, and then next turn I'll go maybe a Galvanic Blast. I think especially in game 1, just being like as aggressive as possible. Oh, that is a really good draw, actually. That's an incredible draw. Let's go Tomb Raider, attack for 3. And then I think I'm supposed to play the Epicure to get more damage on the table. It's possible that my opponent is main decking Croakland Shaman, in which case it might be better to actually just develop the artifact rather than playing more to the board. Because I think I'm gonna win if this board isn't answered quickly. So I suppose this makes sense. I'm not a mono red expert, that is for sure, but I think this play makes a bit of sense because there's a I can't speak. My guess is there's a couple of Crockland Shaman's main deck, if not some Sweepers main deck. Candy Trail. Okay. So there's could be a Metallic Rebuke, could be Galvanic Blast, although Galvanic Blast isn't the most popular card these days. Candy Trail getting a little bit of life is nice, but this is quite the slow card. 3 mana to just scry 2 draw card, like 3 mana Preordain is very slow. Although, being an artifact, it does reduce your other cards, so saying it's 3 mana is maybe a bit inaccurate, I could say, but I will say I played a lot of Grixis Affinity in the past, but I haven't really played much since the Swiftspear ban, so it's possible that this card is just the nuts. Not entirely sure. Okay, scries both to the top. Interesting. So I wonder if there is going to be a play off this last mana here. Because if there's a Mirror Enforcer, you can cast the Mirror Enforcer off the bridge and then cast another Mirror Enforcer for free. I suppose I can do no possible play Eldol. I'm not exactly representing anything. Okay. So it's possible that Curb has Galvanic Blast, and it's possible that Curb has what am I looking for? What word am I looking for? Metallic Rebuke. So I kind of want to crack this to get in more damage with the Blast Runner. The problem is that my Galvanic Blasts kind of get turned off. So let's say I go Epicure, blast you, crack this. Maybe that's the line here. So let's start with Epicure. Okay. Let's go Mountain, blast you. It's actually possible that I want to crack the Blood Token discarding the Mountain. Because if I draw Kuldotha Rebirth next turn, that will give me better... Okay, so there is a Metallic Rebuke. Okay. So the question is, should I Galvanic Blast my opponent here, or should I crack one of these artifacts to get in for 2 more damage? I think I'm supposed to crack one of these artifacts, but it's unclear which one is correct. I think I'm supposed to discard this Mountain. The downside to discarding this Mountain is, yeah, I was going to say, I have Synthesizers in my deck, which sort of are pretty... Synthesizer is a fairly mana-hungry card. I think a play like this is fine, just because Synthesizer is, like, by far the best card in my deck, so... Alright, so let's see if this gets countered. I'm definitely not going to play the Mountain before I can play the Synth, although it sort of lets me play around Metallic Rebuke. It doesn't actually, because, paying 3 on this is not the most likely outcome. So if this gets Metallic Rebuke, it's a bit of a bummer, because I don't have 3 artifacts for my Galvanic Blast. So I'm going to crack the Implement to give the Blast Runner Menace. Draw a card. Chain Lightning. So if I cast Chain Lightning, it allows my opponent to direct it back, which I'm not super happy about. So maybe I just attack with a Blast Runner, put my opponent to 7. So I attack with everything. The Candy Trail is definitely getting cracked on end of turn. So maybe I attack with everything, they block the Tomb Raider, and then on end of turn, when they go to crack this, I Galvanic Blast the Mirror Enforcer to clear the board for next turn. Maybe I'm supposed to save these to go face. So let's say I attack with everything. My opponent blocks here. They take 3, 4, and then I play a Mountain. So they're at 6. I'm 1 damage short from just this. So maybe I'm supposed to hold this Mountain. The question is, I feel like I'm just supposed to attack with the Blast Runner because leaving these creatures in play holds back the Mirror Enforcer, so to speak. Ooh, there's a cast down. Okay, that's not good. I think I'm gonna pass. I could double burn spell the Mirror Enforcer to play around a sacrifice effect. My opponent's out of cards. How good do I think that is? So let's say I go land, burn spell, on the Mirror Enforcer. My opponent goes untap. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 artifacts in play. So they crack the Blood Fountain for 4 mana. They go down to 5 artifacts in play. and no mana. So I think, I don't know, I'm not a burn expert, so you could tell me this is wrong, but I think this is the play I'm going to go for. It's also possible that I was supposed to not cast the Synthesizer into a possible Metallic Rebuke. All right, Dispute. Draws 2. Plays Vault of Whispers. Plays Mirror Enforcer. Oh no, that's a disaster. That is a disaster. All right. I don't think there's a reason to play this. I'm just going to pass. I think I'm really far behind now. Ooh, they're attacking. Okay, that's really bad news. That most likely means there's like a fish in my future. Or another Mirror Enforcer, I suppose. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't see a reason to play any of my cards, so I'm going to pass again. This just did not work out at all how I wanted it to. The second Metallic Rebuke was just fantastic. All right, Mirror Enforcer. So let's say I draw into cold. What's it? Bushwhacker. It's not great still. Yeah, I think now I'm forced to play out my creatures, and then pass back. My opponent can force me to double chump, which I think is just good enough. Spot. Yeah, that's definitely going to be good enough. I will concede the 3 life of the Candy Trail. Okay. So 3 Smashers come in. I'm going to cut some Galvanic Blasts, I think. Seal of Fire is pretty bad, actually. I've got 2 Seal of Fires. The Seal of Fire is nice that it enables the Blast Runner. Maybe it's better than Galvanic Blast? Sure. We'll trim 1 Seal of Fire, 2 Galvanic Blast for the 3 Smasher Smithereens, I think. There was some interesting sequencing in that game. Might have been incorrect on my end. I definitely don't think I was supposed to mulligan. I'm playing 4 Bushwhackers, so obviously Bushwhacker might not have been great that game because I didn't draw Coldotha, but see if we can make something happen on the play here. All right. Take the play. How do I feel about the sand? Blast Runner is good, but I feel like these Seal Fires are pretty underpowered, and I don't have a second threat. The Smasher Smithereens is good, but I don't have a second land, so I'm gonna mulligan. Okay, this is, I think I have to keep. The bummer here is that there's still no second land. I think I'm gonna bottom the Bushwhacker. The Bushwhacker is only good if I draw Coldotha, and I think my opponent's pretty likely to have sweepers here, so. This hand is pretty weak, honestly, if I don't draw second lands. So I think I'm going to start out with the Epicure and then cast the Tomb Raider on turn 2. Pretty weak, though, all things considered. All right, Mistfall Bridge, repping the good old Hydro. Okay, second land is fantastic. So the fact that my opponent didn't play a red source is really good news for me because the card I'm most afraid of here is Quarkland Shaman. Let's play the Blast Runner. This is perfect. Turn 1, 1-drop. Turn 2, 1-drop, 1-drop. It's exactly what I'm looking for. So if I play the Synthesizer next turn, the only card I can't cast is a Bushwhacker. Well, I can cast it as a 1/1, but that's not exactly what I'm looking to be doing here. So if there's a Hydroblast, then Candy Trail. Okay, just develop the artifacts. Yeah, the card I'm still most afraid of is the Croakland Shaman, so maybe I don't want to develop more on the board. Although maybe I just want to try to get my opponent dead as fast as possible. Alright, so let's start with the synth for sure. See what we can hit. We hit a smash of smithereens. I forgot about this. Okay, that's a bit of a bummer. Okay, so attack with everything. I think I played the Blast Runner. If my opponent goes Croakland Shaman, they most likely need to sacrifice their lands. Oh, never mind. Okay, so if there's a Croakland Shaman, I'm really, really not in good shape here. Yeah, okay. That is not good at all. Not good at all. Okay. Maybe I was supposed to hold that back. I'm not sure. Okay. Let's go. Um, Chain Lightning you. Pass. I want to keep this mountain. I don't want to discard the mountain to the blood token quite yet, just because I'm going to be cracking the synth next turn. But I don't feel like I'm in a good spot. If my opponent just casting Mirror Enforcer for 3 mana, I think I'm in a really bad spot. It's possible I was supposed to play around the Croakland Shaman a bit more than I did. It's also possible I was supposed to not bottom the Bushwhacker. Whoa. Hydroblast the synth. Okay. Sure. I'll take it. I guess they don't have an answer to the 2-2, is what that means, most likely. I don't really see a reason to cast that right now. I guess the reason to cast that is to play around another Hydroblast, but I might want to end up using it on a creature at some point. Blood Fountain comes down. I'm really just, if there's just a Mirror Enforcer, I feel like I'm in really bad shape here. Oof, that's really good. Alright, I think it's time to loot away some lands here. Ooh, another Thoughtcast. It's really bad for me. Opponent has 7 cards in hand, I have 1. That's not ideal. I didn't consider that I could hit the Smash Smithereens off of the synthesizer. Maybe I was supposed to wait another turn, but I think it's like so unlikely that I'd whiff on the synth there. I don't imagine I'm not supposed to play this. Pass. I think I'm pretty much dead to any sort of. Yeah, this is the gain 7 life, then I'm just super dead. It's not, but I still think I'm not winning this game. How do I win? I guess I have to draw Synthesizer most likely, and then there has to be not another counterspell. I guess there's another Reinforcer, which is why they're attacking here, but oh no. Oh, that's not good. All right, if my next 2 draw steps there's no Synthesizer, then I will happily concede. Sure. Let's do this. Well, they do actually have double red to send this back if that cure. That was maybe a mistake. I was like, oh, I'll cast this now while they don't have 2 red mana up, but they do actually have 2 red mana up. Let's see. Okay, they're not going to send it back, it looks like. It's pretty tough to play around what they had, because they basically would need to have Blood Fountain plus Croakland Shaman for them to not have to give up a lot of value while using the Shaman there on the whatever turn that was, turn 3. Alright, salute this away. Cold Oath or Rebirth. Not quite what the doctor ordered. So I think the way I win this game is I draw a Synthesizer, and then I flip like maybe a land, and then I Cold Oath Rebirth the Synthesizer, and then I flip like a Goblin Bushwhacker. But yeah, it's gonna be a tough one. I think that should seal the deal here. I'll take one more draw step, but I think that will be good enough. Reinforcer, reinforcer. Okay. All right, that is 100% good enough. All right, GG's. I want to once again thank you to Kirby for playing. That was fun, and I'm also looking to do this with others, and hopefully we'll do this with Callie in the next week. And then if people have other suggestions for people that want to do this sort of setup, I think it could be cool. Um, I'm trying to like mix up the things that I do on my channel and do less like Pauper leagues or random Pauper challenges, because I think it could be more interesting to not follow the same formula that everybody else is doing and sort of mix things up. So let me know if you have any suggestions for this format or decks you want me to play or other players you want me to play. Thanks for watching.